Blood was running down little Zara's nose, and the businessman just sat there, smirking, like he'd won some kind of sick game. For one sharp second, the whole first-class cabin went absolutely silent. Nobody moved, nobody breathed, except this one guy, Jackson Miller, built like a linebacker, but moving real slow. Because the whole day didn't start with blood and shouting. It started with Dr. Tiana Williams, chief pediatric surgeon at Grady Memorial, hustling her daughter Zara through Atlanta's endless. Tiana was finally presenting her surgical breakthrough, something that could actually save thousands of kids. Zara, 7, hair in little braids. White stuffed bunny named Hoppy in her arms. Just wanted to know if they'd fly above the clouds. At the gate, a tiny win. Dr. Williams, you and your daughter have been upgraded to first class, said the agent, and Tiana, tired but grateful, just squeezed Zara's hand. Inside, the seats were wider, the cookies were supposed to be fancier, and Zara tried her hardest to remember to use her inside voice. Across the aisle, a quiet man, Jackson, nodded politely, eyes sharp and calm, book open, mind somewhere else. For about 2 minutes, things felt okay. And then, here comes trouble. An older guy in a slick gray suit, silver hair, a watch you could trade for a small car. Harold Whitfield. He glared at his boarding pass, then at Tiana and Zara, announcing in this cold, oily voice, I believe you're in my seat. Tiana, steady, polite, showed him her ticket, but Harold just grumbled, settled in 2D, and immediately mashed the flight attendant button, demanding to be moved. I'm not comfortable with my seating arrangement, he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. Jackson watched all this. He'd seen the look before, in people who thought they were better than everyone else. Warlords, CEOs, even some politicians. It brought back memories. Just stood there, invisible. That day changed something in him. The plane took off. Harold muttered about how they let anyone in first class these days, his voice just loud enough to sting. Tiana's hand shook as she buckled Zara in, but she just whispered, some people wake up on the wrong side of the bed, doing her best to shield her daughter from the ugliness. Jackson noticed. He always noticed. Then, turbulence. The plane jerked, Zara's apple juice went flying, right into Harold's expensive pants and onto his laptop. For a heartbeat, everyone froze. Zara gasped. Tiana scrambled for napkins, apologizing. Harold, face twisted, bellowed at the little girl. You little brat. He leapt up, ignoring the seatbelt sign, shaking apple juice off his leg. Don't touch me. This is a $5,000 suit. Do you even know what that means? He sneered, staring daggers at Tiana. She tried to explain it was an accident. Zara's only 7. But Harold wasn't having it. Maybe if you knew how to teach your child some manners, he said, stretching the word. You're like it meant more than just parent. The poison hung in the air. Other passengers buried themselves in magazines. Nobody looking up, nobody daring to get involved. Michelle, the flight attendant, did what she could. But Harold kept escalating, threatening to get Tiana and Zara moved, demanding compensation, calling attention to the typical way they behave. Zara started to cry quietly. Tiana sat there, cheeks red with humiliation, anger burning underneath. Jackson kept his eyes on Harold, watching every move. Zara, desperate, tried to make peace. She held out Hoppy, her stuffed bunny, to Harold. Maybe Hoppy can help you feel better. He always makes me feel better when I'm sad. For a second, even Harold seemed surprised, but then his lip curled. Keep your filthy toy away from me. He snarled, smacking the bunny out of Zara's hand. It tumbled down the aisle. That was the first physical line crossed. Tiana, now truly furious, drew herself up. Don't you dare touch my daughter. Harold insisted he was being harassed. Michelle, the attendant, tried to broker peace. Maybe Tiana and Zara could move to another section? Tiana was stunned. You want us to move because he is being aggressive? The argument got louder. They're playing the race card, Harold said for all to hear. I will not be moving, Tiana stated, her voice clear. We have every right to be here. Zara, always the peacemaker, tugged her mother's sleeve. We can move, Mommy. I don't mind. It was dead silent. Tiana's scream shattered that silence, her hands flying to her child. You hit my baby. Harold didn't deny it. She invaded my space. I have the right to defend myself. The rest of the passengers sat frozen, paralyzed by shock and their own cowardice, until an older woman finally spoke up. Against a first grader, she challenged. Harold kept spinning his story, blaming Zara, calling Tiana unfit, pressing Michelle to move them. The co-pilot came out, called by the commotion. But even he seemed unsure. Harold had the bearing of a man used to getting what he wanted. It was Zara's bunny that broke the last piece of her courage. A nearby passenger pocketed Hoppy in the chaos, and when Zara realized her bunny was gone, she broke down, sobbing. Harold, unmoved, demanded again, either they go, or I go. The co-pilot hesitated, visibly calculating the risk of crossing a rich passenger. At that moment, Harold made a fatal mistake. As Zara tried, once more, to apologize, Harold's hand shot out and punched her in the face, hard, closed fist. Blood splattered across the white headrest. That was when Jackson finally moved. Years of training kicked in. 3 seconds. That's all it took for him to cross the aisle, lock Harold's arm in a restraint hold that said, "You're not in charge anymore. Sit down and shut up until the police arrive." Jackson ordered, voice cold and controlled. Phones came out, passengers recording. Michelle called the captain. The co-pilot hovered, unsure who to help. Jackson declared, loud enough for everyone. The captain declared a security emergency, announcing an unscheduled landing in Denver. Law enforcement boarded the plane. Harold tried to play the victim. I was assaulted. But passengers. Even as Harold threatened lawsuits, officers cuffed him, charging him with assault on a minor. In the aftermath, Tiana and Zara were taken for medical checks. Called in his own favors, friends and security, old SEAL buddies, even a few digital experts. Harold's connections tried everything. Intimidating calls, pressure on Tiana's hospital job. Jackson and his team started finding other victims, connecting dots across NDAs, threats, and settlements. A detective named Maria Gonzalez got involved, making it clear that wealth and power had been covering up Harold's pattern for years. What broke the dam was a viral video. Not the punch, but the aftermath, the blood on Zara's face. The chaos in first class. The public outrage pushed the DA to press charges. In court, Harold's army of lawyers tried to paint him as a victim, but the evidence, witnesses, videos, even airline emails, was overwhelming. Tiana's testimony, steady and emotional, showed the damage to Zara's face and to her trust in the world. Michelle admitted the airline tried to cover it up. Fired from his job, charged with multiple counts, old NDAs exposed. The system started to shift, just a little. 6 months later,